All right, we're gonna go in and get out all of the pasta. I think this is all pasta. This is pasta. This is like ramen noodles and stuff, but I think I might even see more pasta. So we're gonna pull it all out and make some decisions about how we're gonna use our pasta over the next week. So we definitely have a lot of pasta, and I'm not gonna be eating all of this pasta this week, but what I do wanna try and do, and I quote, inventory each week, but I definitely don't go through like every single box. So sometimes it adds up like this. I want to try and use some of the ones that we've used like part of. So we have the bow tie that's open. I'm probably not going to make a lasagna this week, but this will be fine until the fall when it's more like lasagna time. These are not open, so we'll probably leave them. Rotini, could do like a pasta salad. Linguine, that's good for spaghetti. I know the kids want to have spaghetti and meatballs. We'll save this for another time. And I have open rigatoni too. So we'll just take all the ones that are still closed, put those away, and then just focus in on these. And I think we're definitely gonna do a spaghetti meatballs. I'm thinking like a pasta primavera because I have some fresh local Fiddleheads, and then some pasta salad for this weekend. So my sister-in-law asked if I could bring a side to a little end of the school year party. So we're gonna grab the second half of this gemelli, and I'm gonna make a Mexican pasta salad. Also need some black beans. And as I was going through my condiments, I was like, wow, what have I done? This even happens to the best of us. This is why I do this, right? 3 half-open containers of salsa. We tell you that we like the Market Basket brand. The salsa mild, if you've been around for a while, my husband with the salsa mild. So we'll grab one of these and add this too. All right, so this pasta salad, as with most pasta salads, is pretty easy, cut and dump. You want to use 1 cup of salsa. And I know it's not big savings, but I cannot help myself but put a little bit of water in the bottom of a jar like that and kind of wash everything out and get the rest out. It just feels like I'm saving. Like, I don't want to throw anything away, you know? A 1/3 cup of sour cream, or you can use Greek yogurt. I really like Greek yogurt because it's not much more expensive and it adds extra protein, so it's kind of like a healthy budget swap. Then you want to add 3 tablespoons of mayo. You can see we've got kind of the last of the bottle here, but this is a perfect kind of use it up kind of thing. Then you just want to add a tablespoon of olive oil, the juice of half of a lime, and then just crushing some cloves of garlic because I'm going to grate those in. But I also at this point was able to get my pasta, the water was boiling, so you just want to cook that up according to package instructions. And then you can either grate the garlic in. I like to use a microplane. You could use a garlic press, you could mince it, or you could use about a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then for spices, I just added a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of paprika, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and just give that a good stir. And that is basically I don't want to say sauce because it's not really sauce on a pasta salad. I'm trying to think of what it is. I mean, it's like the mayo-y mixture that goes on it. It's all the flavor, right? Then I'm just going to slice up some veggies. A nice thing about this salad is not only is it super flavorful, but it's like really bright with all these fresh vegetables. And these are things you can get relatively inexpensive, especially this time of year. So I've got some red onion and I'm just mincing that. And then you're going to have pepper, either like red or yellow or orange pepper. Even green pepper would taste good in this, and just mince that. I find that peppers are great to buy on sale because they last a really long time in your crisper. And then I like diced up some cucumber. Again, this time of year, summer, spring, cucumbers, it's like less than $1 for a cucumber. So inexpensive and such a great flavor and great add to a dish like this. And then I'm also chopping up about a 1/4 cup of cilantro, which adds a ton of flavor to this. And I think that it actually kind of like rounds the whole thing out. And then to your mayo and Greek yogurt mixture, you want to add that 1/2 pound of cooked pasta. Make sure that's fully cooled off. And then 1 can of drained and rinsed black beans. And then all those veggies in there. And you just give that a good mix and you can serve it right away. You can refrigerate it first. And it's just full of flavor. It gives like a totally different vibe from a traditional pasta salad. And it's just super pantry friendly, like I love. Next up, I'm going to be making those meatballs like my kids requested, and I'm super excited about this because this is my first like full meatball recipe I'll have on my website, and I absolutely love making meatballs. And I realized my mom didn't really make them a lot growing up, so I think I kind of am like living my childhood over again by making them when I want to. Got some water going. We're going to salt it like the sea. Give the pasta lots of flavor. We're just doing a super easy sauce, about a 1/4 cup of olive oil, 2 cloves of garlic. I kind of smashed them into a paste, or like, I don't know, really mashed them down. I'm gonna do the same thing in here, just kind of smush them into this. We're just gonna warm up this garlic in this olive oil. And as much as I love fire roasted diced tomatoes, you don't have to use them. I just happen to have them. And then for the second can, I just have regular petite diced tomatoes. So like I said, whatever you have on hand will work. And then you want this heat over a medium high. We're gonna add about a teaspoon of salt. We're just gonna cook this for about, we're gonna heat it up until it boils, until it kind of comes to a boil. And then once it does, turn it down to low and simmer it for about 35 minutes. All right, so we're gonna make a lot of meatballs. I am going to grate in 2 onions. We're gonna use 2 pounds of ground beef. I have actually a little over 2 pounds, but luckily meatballs are super forgiving and you can kind of, you know, make the best of it. About 2 cups of chopped up bread. And I have some white bread in here and then like some hot dog rolls. And I think that's gonna be fine because I'm actually out of breadcrumbs. About a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. We're gonna do a couple teaspoons of garlic powder, a couple teaspoons of Italian seasoning, and 2 eggs. Let's not forget, we also need salt and pepper. So we'll do teaspoon or so of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And you can try and be polite and just use your fork, but realistically, hands are gonna be best for this. So give your hands a good wash and then get them in there. If you had pork, you could also add pork to this and do like half pork, half ground beef. I've also done meatballs with just like ground turkey or ground chicken. It's a bit of a different flavor, but it's not too crazy. And you do wanna mix this as well as you can, but you don't wanna over mix it because that kind of will end up too dense. So I've got my extra large 14-inch pan over a medium low heat here. And you can always just half the recipe that I made because this is gonna make enough for a few days for us, and I can even freeze some if I need to. And I'm just covering the bottom here in some olive oil. You wanna take a cookie scoop. That's what I like to use. This is 1.5 tablespoons. We're just gonna go right in here, scoop out some meatball size pieces, kind of roll it up. Again, not too tight, just right, and put it in. So with this sauce, you don't have to, but you can use like a blender. You know, my kids aren't gonna like it as chunky. So I tried my best to kind of get some of the fat out of this. So we're just gonna pour the sauce right in here and let these meatballs finish cooking. So I don't know, it doesn't get much better than that. Saucy, delicious meatballs. My meatballs are almost done, so I just cut up a bunch of fresh basil and put it over the top. And you could also use some dried basil, and that would be fine too. You give it a lot of last minute flavor. If you find that your sauce is like too tangy or too tinny, you can add in a teaspoon of sugar, kind of mix that in, and that will give it kind of round that flavor out for you.
They're combined.
You think that's funny?
What?
You think that's funny? Noodle hands?
Look at it. 8 out of 8.
So we're making a Fiddlehead pasta primavera today. I'm starting with a large pot of water. We're gonna bring this to a boil and then we're gonna clean our fiddleheads. So I'm just gonna rinse them and then submerge them in cold water, and then some brown scaly stuff should come off, and I'm gonna kind of rub all that off. You just really wanna clean them well. It's definitely a different process. So if you can't get fresh fiddleheads, definitely, or you don't wanna go through that process, just use some asparagus. That would be really good in this, broccoli, something like that. And then off to the side here, I am going to slice up some bacon and start cooking that in the pan while I start cleaning the fiddleheads, because we're gonna use bacon in this pasta dish. I just trimmed the end of these fiddleheads too, and we're just gonna pour them into this boiling water and cook them for about 5 to 7 minutes. Very steamy. And so while I'm using bacon in this, I'm just gonna leave this bacon fat and cook some peas in here too. You could also use cubed ham and some butter, or you could use pancetta. I think that would also be delicious in this. I was actually looking for pancetta, but I couldn't find it at my local grocery store, so we just went with bacon. So as our fiddleheads cook, we're just gonna mix up 2 eggs, about a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper, and 2 teaspoons of Parmesan cheese. It's gonna make almost like a carbonara. And then once my fiddleheads were done, I just drained them and rinsed them yet again, just to kind of make sure that that cooking process was over. And then I just used that same pot, 'cause I'm just gonna cook the pasta up in there. I mean, why use more than one dish when you don't have to? You can just see how green these turned out. It's giving me Christmas vibes with the green and red. And then to my pan with the bacon, I ended up adding some shiitake mushrooms, and you could use button mushrooms as well if you'd like. And just saute those until those mushrooms are cooked down a couple minutes. And then add in a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I used about a 1/2 pound of linguine. You can cook that up. You could use like angel hair pasta or spaghetti too if you want to. So to this, I'm just gonna add about a cup of frozen peas, just frozen right in there. Might go a little more generous because my kids actually like peas. Also gonna add in our fiddleheads here. This is turning quite green, but in a good way. And when the pasta's done, I'm just gonna add it right to the vegetables. This is about a 1/2 pound of linguine. Quite a bit of food, honestly. And then if you remember our egg and Parmesan mixture, I'm just gonna pour that right over this pasta and mix it in. I turned off the heat to this a few minutes ago, so I'm not worried about it still being on the same heat here, but if you just turned your heat off, you're gonna wanna just take it off of the heat and do it elsewhere, because you really don't want it to be cooking. The pasta itself is gonna cook this mixture up. Then we'll do about another 1/4 cup of Parmesan over the top, once everything's well mixed together. You can see this has become quite creamy. And earlier you could have added some dried basil, but I have some fresh basil that I'm just gonna put over the top right now. All right, I've been focusing on cleaning out different areas in my pantry each week, so go ahead and click on this next video to see what I did with my cans.